Finally, we've got an Audi on the channel. This time it's a Audi A5 from the previous generation, which was produced from 2007 till 2016, and it was facelifted in 2011, and this particular car is a 2013 model. We have the Sportback model, and it's a 4-door coupe, and in my opinion it's the most beautiful out of the A5 range. A real Audi needs Quattro. Without it, it's just a decorated Volkswagen. And I'm not talking about the Haldex system in the smaller Audis, but I'm talking about the full torsion system with the 40% front and 60% rear wheel distribution. And Audi says that system is supposed to make the car more dynamic and make it feel like a rear wheel driven car. Let's test if that is really the case in this Audi A5. Before we test the driving characteristics of the A5, let's just briefly talk about the exterior and interior design. The exterior design still looks pretty good, especially with the S-Line Sport package and those 19-inch rims. It's just a gorgeous looking thing. And this car has the nice contrasting black accents combined with the white exterior color, really make it stand out. The interior, and the infotainment systems are starting to show its age, of course. Material wise, it's mainly built out of plastics and a lot of hard plastics as well. But the seats, they are very comfortable and they hug you very good in corners. Now let's talk about the drivetrain of this A5 Sportback Quattro. It has a inline 4-cylinder petrol engine, which is driven through a 7-speed S-Tronic transmission. That's Audi's dual clutch, and it drives all 4 wheels through the Quattro all-wheel drive system. The engine produces 225 horsepower and 350 Newton meters of torque. However, this car is tuned with a stage 1 software tune, and it produces 275 horsepower. Now let's talk about the driving characteristics of this A5. Let's start with the steering. On lower speeds it's very light, and it feels, you don't get a lot of feel coming through the steering wheel. That's a common problem with Audis. It has variable steering, which means that on lower speeds it's very light, and on higher speeds it becomes more heavy. So steering feel feels artificial. And the suspension, this car is equipped with the S-Line Sport suspension, but to be honest, it's much more comfortable than I expected. They always say S-Line sport suspensions are pretty harsh and don't give you enough comfort. But I find it pretty decently comfortable. Now let's talk about the transmission. The transmission shifts quickly to higher gears. And on downshifts, it responds pretty well as well. What it is with these S-Tronic dual clutch transmissions is that it keeps the higher gear for very long. They did it for fuel efficiency, and if you really want to accelerate, you have to push the pedal a lot further in, but then it shifts down too many gears and it becomes, the revs become too much, the revs become too high. And what happens if we put the transmission into the sport mode by pulling this lever towards us? Then it reacts a lot faster. But still, the precision of the throttle and transmission working together isn't as smooth as with a single clutch automatic transmission. To really optimize the throttle and the transmission relation, you can push the throttle, for example, for 75% and then take a little bit of the throttle off to 50%. Then you can accelerate without overdoing it. Let's give you an example. So here I pushed it for 2/3 and it still didn't shift down. It kept the gear, but of course thanks to the software tune it's still pretty fast. But if you want it to shift one gear down, you to push it a bit and then take off the throttle like this. Yeah, on a full automatic, it's on a single clutch automatic, it's smoother, it has to be said. But if you fully accelerate, we're now in the normal mode, and if you go to sport mode and fully accelerate, it reacts pretty fast. Still not instant, but it's fast enough for 99% of all the occasions. Sport mode, and let's see how the transmission responds to the pedals behind the steering wheel. We're in 5th gear, 4th gear, 3rd gear. On upshift it's pretty fast. Well done. But keep in mind, this car also had a software remap for the S-Tronic transmission. And let's see how it is on the downshifts. Single gear at a time, it's pretty instant, and multiple gears at a time. Okay, that's also pretty good. Well done. Now let's test the driving characteristics of the A5 Sportback. I felt a glimpse of oversteer there, so the torsion Quattro system does a pretty good job. Take the second. It's going from 4th to 2nd, pretty fast as well. That was a glimpse of oversteer. So the torsion Quattro system really does its job. And of course on shorter and more tight cornering, it understeers. It has to understeer. Every car does it. Even a Porsche 911 with 4-wheel drive does that. So, but believe me, it's not as disastrous as everyone makes it to be. Like it's understeering monster. This 2-liter 4-cylinder is also light, so it makes the front of the car more light. And if this had a bigger 6-cylinder or 8-cylinder engine, then the front would be heavy. So it's a pretty nice combination, a 4-cylinder petrol engine with the Quattro torsion system. Instant. Downshifts are instant. You felt it a little bit sliding over its front wheels, but with a little bit of throttle it corrects instantly. So yeah, I'm just pleased with this this great transmission, especially after the remap and this Quattro system. Well done. So what's my verdict on the Audi A5 Sportback Quattro? Exterior wise, it still looks pretty good. Interior starting to show its age. Steering, yeah, it's a bit artificial. Suspension, it's a nice package between comfort and dynamic. And the transmission, the 7-speed S-Tronic transmission, it's a pretty good transmission. It's a bit jerky when taking off, but that's always almost the case in all the dual clutch transmissions. But the reaction to the pedals is great. And the Quattro system in this Audi A5 does make a huge difference. Makes the car so much more dynamic. So if you go for Audi, always get a Quattro model, or else it is still my opinion, it's a decorated Volkswagen. So let's get back to second gear from fourth, instant shift and fully accelerate. Incredible. The software tune also made this 4-cylinder engine a lot more lively. Well done. Don't forget to like, subscribe for more content. And I'll see you in the next review. Take care.